You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, Germantown Community Television, your hometown news and information station.
Welcome back. I'm Vince Perryman, and you are watching Legalese. Joining us on our show today is Bill Jones. We're discussing bankruptcy law. Bill, earlier we covered all of the Chapter 7 sort of overview. Now, the other one that consumers tend to file is Chapter 13, and I know you get kicked into that if you don't qualify for a 7. So what's the process of the 13?
The Chapter 13, getting in is similar. We're going to run a means test because we're going to see if you can qualify for a Chapter 7. You're also going to have your ticket in, that bankruptcy counseling class that we're talking about. It's going to treat those 3 levels of debt that we were talking about, your secured, your unsecured, and your priority debts. They're going to treat them a little differently. What we're going to do is we're going to look at your expenses. How much do you spend on gas or food or groceries? At the end of the month, you're going to have a dollar amount left over, and that's what we call your discretionary income. Based upon your discretionary income and based upon the amount of debt that you've got, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how much of this debt can you pay back over a 60-month period. Now, that's 5 years. What you'll do is you will pay back pennies on the dollar over that 60-month period. The secured debt, you're going to have to continue either paying that or you're going to surrender it. The nice thing about a Chapter 13 is on those secured debts, on your house, on your car. Let's say that you got laid off and you've missed 2 or 3 payments. Well, those payments that you've missed, if you've missed 2 house notes and your house note is $1,000 a month, we take those 2 house notes and we put that into this plan and repay it over a 60-month period. So we take that $2,000, we divide it by 60, we put it in your plan, and you pay it off over a 60-month period. And at the end of your bankruptcy, that debt's paid in full. The priority debts, you've still got to pay them back. There's still no way around that. You've got to pay those back at 100%. Your secured debt, you've got to pay it back at 100%. But again, we're going to look at your discretionary income. Maybe you've done the right thing. Maybe you've paid your house note first for your entire life, and you've built up a lot of equity in your house. If that's the case, then your assets may be too large to file a Chapter 7. So we're going to look at a Chapter 13. That asset, though, could be so large that you may end up having to pay back, and I've had this happen several times, you may end up having to file a Chapter 13 where you pay back 100% of that debt. Mm-hmm. So if you've got a lot of equity in your house, you may end up having to pay back a higher portion of that debt. Because what the bankruptcy court's going to do is they're going to say, well, if you were to sell your house, you'd have the potential to pay off all these debtors. And that's why there are bankruptcy trustees. The trustees they're the referees. If it's a football game and the debtor is the offense and the banks are the defense, the trustee is there to make sure that everybody's playing by the rules. They're not for you. They're not against you. They're there to make sure that you're playing by the rules. And in a Chapter 13, they're going to review our plan, and they're going to make sure that not only is everybody getting paid enough, but that it's feasible for you. They're going to make sure that you as the debtor can pay it back and not fall out or miss a payment. Now, if you successfully complete your Chapter 13, at the end of that 60-month period, all of your unsecured debt, that's that credit card, doctor bills, things we're talking about, that's all wiped clean, and it's gone. Your secured debt, you'll just keep paying on that if it's not paid off. We're not going to try and make you pay off your entire house over a 60-month period. I mean, you'll keep paying that as you've always paid it. But at the end of that 60-month, you're wiped clean. Now, in both of these bankruptcies, a Chapter 7 and a Chapter 13, just like you had to do the counseling you've got to do counseling before you can get your discharge, before you can get out. And there are some good agencies online that you can go through to do that. In a Chapter 13, I always try and push clients into a 7, if we can. And the reason is because life happens. Mm-hmm. If you've got that payment that you're having to make on a month-to-month basis, and something happens, something comes up, your wife needs a surgery, your kids need stitches, grandma needs to move in, life is going to happen. Your finances are not going to be the same today as they are going to be 60 months down the road. And certainly that's something that I think about a lot when I'm determining what type of bankruptcy to put folks in. Mm-hmm. I know that life happens. I know that you can miss that payment. And if you miss that payment, you're right back at square one. It's important, if you do know that you're going to miss a payment, to contact your attorney fairly quick. Mm-hmm. You can file a motion to reduce your payments, a motion to suspend your payments, a motion to forgive payments. The key is you're married to your attorney over that 60-month period. I mean, y'all are in a relationship, and you need to keep in contact with them and let them know, this is what's going on in my life. I'm not going to make that payment. We need to address this with the court. The worst thing you can do is either miss that payment or just stick your head in the sand and forget about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, with the 13, if it's a renter that's in one of my rental properties and they file a 13 or a 7, how does that affect the rent I collect?
Yeah. There's a portion when you're filling out your petition, there's a portion in your petition that talks about unexpired leases. Okay. Now, if I'm the debtor, if I'm the person leasing from you, I'm going to put any unpaid debts into the back end of the lease, and I'm going to pay you what I owed you over a 60-month period. If I'm the landlord and I want my money, I'm going to need to go, and I'm going to need to file a motion to lift the stay, allowing me to ask General Sessions Court to evict you.
Okay. When we return from our break, we will talk more with Bill Jones about bankruptcy law. Please stay with us.